One life ends, another begins. So, well, here I am, doing science. I see you.
I see you.
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is show number 484, and I'm here once again not only to help you have the best possible vacation experience when you go to the Disney parks, but I also want to help bring you a little bit of that Disney magic wherever you are with the podcast, my videos, blog, live broadcasts every Wednesday, my books, audio tours, new 360-degree VR videos, and more. You can find everything over at WDWradio.com. So after nearly 6 years since the announcement was made that Disney and James Cameron would be bringing Pandora, the world of Avatar, to life, it opened this past weekend to record crowds and emotional reactions. This week, I want to take you with me through Pandora as we review the environment, story, attractions, merchandise, dining, of course, and more in a land that truly defines what a breathtaking, immersive environment truly is. I'll then have the answer to our last Walt Disney World trivia question of the week and pose a new challenge for your chance to win a Disney Prize package. Then stay tuned to the end of the show. I'll have some updates, including information about our next Meet of the Month, upcoming special events, your voicemails, and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show.
You're not in Kansas anymore. You're on Pandora, ladies and gentlemen. Respect that fact every second of every day.
Well, Pandora takes this wondrous, awesome, incredibly rich world that was created digitally by Jim Cameron and turns it into a physical space at Disney's Animal Kingdom. And it is not to be believed. I mean, we have a standard at Disney that I like to talk about a lot, which is how did they do that? Where people, our guests ask, how is it possible Disney did that? And this is a great example of that. They've been great partners. We first reached out to them quite a while back and basically I asked, would you ever think about allowing us to build Pandora or building it with us? And from the moment I spoke with him, James had an enthusiasm and a great interest in it. And he and his partner, John Landau, have been wonderful to work with on this. Cooperative, we obviously needed not only their creative expertise and their input, but even some of their technology. And it's been just a very, very productive and enjoyable partnership. Well, I think what's great about this is because we're creating a space that is Pandora, that the cast members are actually acting as though they are Pandorans, or that they have a role in Pandora, not just in Disney or in Walt Disney World or in Animal Kingdom, but actually in Pandora. And I love that, and I love how they have embraced it and that concept so enthusiastically.
I want you to think back with me. Think back nearly 6 years ago when Disney announced at a press conference at Imagineering that a long-term creative partnership with James Cameron's Lightstorm Entertainment and Fox Filmed Entertainment was going to bring something new to Walt Disney World, and that was the fantasy world of Avatar. A couple of years later, we start to get the first glimpses of what it might look and feel like at Disney's D23 Expo, when a small interactive exhibit featuring cast members helped start putting together pieces of this puzzle of this very mysterious land and storyline together for us guests. couple of years ago, once again at D23 Expo, we started to see what this world of Pandora was really going to look like. And this past week, those dreams, designs, and creative concepts came to life when Pandora, the world of Avatar, officially opened to guests. I don't even say at Disney's Animal Kingdom, but just about 4.4 million light years outside of Disney's Animal Kingdom. So this week, much like I did during the previews with live video and photos and some of the 360 VR videos, I really want to take you with me into Pandora to explore the land, the attractions, the environment, the food, the experience, and of course the food. And because this is the largest expansion in this park's history, I also want to bring in other voices and perspectives as well. So ladies first, and joining me once again is the lovely Becky Mankin from MEI and Mouse Fan Travel.
I was waiting for the punchline.
There is no punchline. We had a beautiful time together in Pandora, and I'm not going to ruin it.
I'm so proud of you. That'll last about 5 minutes, but that's okay. I'm really looking forward to talking about this today.
And back once again, the last time you may have heard this friend was back on show 157 when we talked about the social media moms, but I know she's been with me on live broadcast, including recently from Pandora. She is Amanda Tinney.
Thank you so much for having me back after this long hiatus. It is an honor.
It is. Listen, I've been trying to get through your people and your managers. I finally got through to you, and we were able to work out a deal, so welcome back. And back again, and because he's here, you know we will discuss food, is the Big Fat... I mean, do I even need to say your name other than the Big Fat Panda from BigFatPanda.com? John Sakari, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you so much. I am so thrilled to talk Avatar with all of you.
I am as well. We saw each other spend a lot of time together in Pandora this past week. We were able to go during a special media preview. I don't know if you guys have visited again since, but I really want to sort of I want to sort of go somewhat chronologically, and I want to sort of, before we get into the world of Pandora itself, I want to go back to when that official announcement came out so many years ago, when the official announcement came out that Disney was going to partner with Lightstorm Entertainment. 6 years ago. Sometimes it seems like it was even longer than that. But when we heard that announcement, I'm going to say this as diplomatically as possible, it brought out many different opinions via social media. This was one of the first time, I think, that I really saw the social media Twitterverse explode with a cacophony of varying voices. I saw things where people said, I will never, ever visit Disney's Animal Kingdom ever again, although I saw them there last week, that it didn't fit. It didn't. It's a true story. It didn't fit. It didn't make sense. I hated the movie. Like the litany of emotional responses, and I'm not criticizing them because I think it goes to how passionate we as Disney enthusiasts are about it. But I want you to sort of go back, and what was your reaction, and what was your maybe reaction to the reactions? We'll go ladies first, and since Amanda, it has been longest since you've been on the show, I'm going to put you on the spot first. What did you think when they first announced it, and then if you were even paying attention to some of the social responses as well?
My initial reaction was Avatar? Meh. Oh, Joe Rohde's earring. Like, I hadn't seen the movie, and I know that like garnered some like audible gasps from the crowds that I was with this weekend or this week when we went to the opening. But I really didn't give it a thought. I was just like, meh. Maybe this will be that magical kingdom, that magical area of Animal Kingdom that we were supposed to have, from the get-go. There'll be unicorns and whatever. But, yeah, I really didn't give it a thought.
Becky, what about you?
Well, I had seen the movie, and it was good. To me, it wasn't great. So when they did the announcement, it was kind of shocking in a way. It's like, wait, what? Knowing that it had made so much money, though, it kind of made sense in a strange way. But the one thing that I did kind of gravitate to was the fact that it wasn't really about the movie, and my hopes and dreams was that it was going to be much more about the environment than trying to carry on the storyline from the movie. And thankfully, that's kind of how it's worked out. But from the backlash, I guess, because they were so passionate, that you put it in a good way, in a good PC way, that there were people who were just adamant that it wouldn't work and it would be horrible and would just be the story. And over time, I think as they released some details and information, it really started to come to light to what they had intended for this land to be. And I really think it's kind of checked off all the boxes.
John, what about you?
Okay, I did have a completely different view than everyone. Having seen the movie 5 times and falling in love with it, I was thrilled. And when I heard the backlash from people, I thought that I was in this Twilight Zone. How could this movie have made so much money? But everybody hates it. And a lot of people that were saying it doesn't belong in Disney's Animal Kingdom, my first question to them was, did you see the movie? And they would all say no. And it would drive me bananas that they didn't see how the animals and the conservation and the whole message fit. So I was a fan from the get-go. I couldn't wait for it. I saw only, rainbows and roses. I loved it.
So, for me, when they made the announcement, I think like the acquisition of Lucasfilm, it came out of left field. Like nobody saw this coming. There was no rumors. There was no discussion about. But for me, look, there's a couple of things that came into play right off the bat. One, for me, and I say this all the time, unapologetically, Disney and Imagineering and guys like Joe Rohde, they have earned my trust based on what they have done in the past number of years and decades. When you see a land like Cars Land come to life and what that experience is, I have this inherent trust in them. I had seen-ish the movie. Like, I had started watching. Because I started watching during the 40-hour show, which is not the best time to watch it. So we had rented a house, and we actually had a giant movie theater room in there, and we called it the Avatar room because we were watching, yet partially falling asleep. But I had pieced it together little by little. I was amazed at, from a technological standpoint, I was amazed. It was a visually stunning, breathtaking film. And I've said this ad nauseum on the show. If I could have gone back and edited out all of the military aspect and just been able to look at the environment, that to me was what the film was. Look, it made 2.9 billion with a B dollars. Right. So somebody had to have actually seen it, right? Somebody had to have been impressed by what they saw. That being said, other than maybe John, if I asked you to name 3 characters from the film, I personally couldn't do it. Like
Sigourney Weaver.
Well, right. So, so for me, I'm like, okay, I know Gamora and Ripley are in it, but I don't think those are from different films.
That's all you need to know.
That's all. Yeah. So
pretty much.
We've heard that the sequels are coming. They've been delayed. There was question, how does Avatar fit into Disney's Animal Kingdom? It made sense to me because I'm like, look, Avatar was not about a military mining expedition. It was about the same thing that Disney's Animal Kingdom is about. It's this living in concert. Dare I say, living with the land we all love. Nature's plan will shine above. But to me, it sort of made sense. And when you see guys, look, James Cameron, John Landau are, like Disney, incredible storytellers. And that is where the trust came in for me, knowing the level of detail and story that would be in here. And with Joe Rohde being creative director, you knew that it was not going to be about the characters and the plot of the film, but it was going to be about the environment and conservation and things like that. So Avatar and Animal Kingdom really did fit into each other in a very nice, neat kind of way. And obviously it wasn't until this past week that we understood exactly how those 2 storylines came in. But I wasn't upset about it. I was excited about it, including leading up to this past week.
Yeah, and that whole piece of the bioluminescence, when they were showing that in the movie and just looking at how how the environment glowed and sparkled, and I could just see how they could paint that palette in a land, especially with the people who were behind it. When, like you said, with Joe Rohde and those who are really thinking this through, it came together beautifully.
Yeah, and as we started to get closer and we saw the designs, the mock-up of the model at Expo 2 years ago, we really started to get excited about it. But me personally, I made sure that I didn't look at any video, anything ahead of time. I needed to see it with my own eyes before I got in there. And let's sort of, as we get into Pandora itself, I want to talk about not necessarily the attractions yet, but I want to talk about the environment, because for me, the environment is an attraction in and of itself. This
Absolutely.
Valley of Moara, those floating mountain ranges. Tell me, guys, and John, you were just jumping in. Tell me what that experience was like when you first entered the land and experienced it for yourself.
I think the first thing is that no video or photos really does this land justice. I mean, really, you've got to see it. But it wasn't just the floating mountains. It was the way they were connected, those vines. I don't know why I'm entranced by vines. Did you feel the same way when you saw the vines and the colors? You're like, somebody draped these things up there. It just looks real, like it's real vegetation. And it just was lush and beautiful on the water. and you know, and I get the right, because I've seen it. So Becky and Amanda?
Well, for me, it was really interesting because when you first walk in, you're hit with that wall of sound. You're hit with the sounds of the water and the animals and the crickets and whatever those other things are that growled really loudly. But you really do feel that you've moved from...
That was Lou's stomach.
Is that what that was? until we got back to the cantina, yeah. But that really being hit with a sensory overload in a way with the environment, because when you first walk over that bridge and you're hit with that wall of sound, and then all of a sudden you start seeing the flora that is alien. It's different, and it's got color, and you really do kind of feel like you've walked into a different ecosystem.
And for me, not seeing the movie, it was literally, I wrote about this. I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to put this into words because I can't speak. But I can only compare it to a child who has heard about the Magic Kingdom and Cinderella Castle, and just walking under the Main Street railroad station, stepping out onto Main Street USA for the first time and seeing Cinderella Castle. It was just overwhelming. I had no idea what to expect. The only thing that was familiar to me at all was that little stream that runs on the right-hand side. And I was like, oh, Camp Minnie Mickey. Oh, no.
That's a really good analogy, Amanda.
Yeah, that's great.
It was completely overwhelming. And on Instagram, I'm on Instagram all the time. The right click was my friend. I was like right clicking like a boss, trying not to look at anyone's stories leading up to it. Because I was like, no, I don't want to see anything.
Yeah, there were so many great people. I mean, Lou, you did a whole bunch of awesome 360s later on, but you'd been in there earlier. There were so many people had access through the AP and other previews that they had going. It was so hard not to look. But like you, I didn't want to get any preconceived notions. I didn't want to see the pictures. I'd already seen enough of the renderings, so I really wanted my own experience with my own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I living locally and driving by and past Disney's Animal Kingdom, I was able to watch from a very far distance those floating mountain ranges start to come together. And they're about 160-ish feet high. They use forced perspective, so they seem taller. But once you get inside Pandora, right, you look and you're like, these mountains appear to float. Like, I understand why it took them the year just to build the steel foundations, because like you said, John, with being covered by those sort of jagged peaks and the foliage and the rockwork and the vinery, they appear as though they are floating. And we say all the time that you should always look up and look around. And I think there's no better and more important place to do that than Pandora. When I approach it, something like this, I approach it from a lot of different ways. I think about it from an engineering perspective. I think it from a storytelling perspective. I think it from, a Disney type perspective. So one of the things I spent way too much time thinking about was the transition itself from Disney's Animal Kingdom into Pandora. Because if you've listened to any of my audio tours or taken some of the tours at Disney, you know that when you go, for example, from the turnstiles in Magic Kingdom into Main Street USA, you walk under the train trestle. You go through a very deliberately designed portal that Imagineering creates, so that transition takes you from the 172-degree Florida heat and humidity into the 172-degree heat and humidity of turn-of-the-century Midwestern, America.
Right.
That physical portal does not exist in the same way here, right? As you start to walk from the area by where Tiffin's and Nomad Lounge is, the bridge that you cross is less of a visual portal than it is an auditory one. And I ask and I invite you to almost stand there and close your eyes as you walk through, because you will hear a transition and a change in the animals and the drawing out of music. And the only sort of analogy I could think of, it's like traversing the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge between Midgard and Asgard, where you can see that land ahead of you, but you do need to sort of make that transition as well. And because everything is so lush and green, it does sort of flow very nicely into the earthbound plants that you see in Disney's Animal Kingdom versus all of the foliage that you see in Pandora.
Well said. Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I've heard people discuss too is when you look, the storytelling aspect here, I think, is some of the best Disney has done. And we'll talk about this later too. I think this is a new level of immersive experiences, and I think this is a precursor to what we're going to see in Star Warsville or Star Wars Land or whatever they're going to call it. Because in addition to, look, one of the Disney idioms is everything speaks, and this is very much the case here. And I don't just mean the environment speaks, but even, the cast members, they help complete they all have a backstory. They're almost like their own little versions of Streetmosphere characters as well.
Exactly, yep.
And whether they are the walk-around characters from Ace or the guy that I spent 15 minutes talking to who was the cashier at Satuli Canteen, I love the fact that all of the cast members get to have and or create their own backstory. They are very much a part of this environment.
And that was one of the things that I enjoyed so much about it, was stopping one of the guys from Ace. I think I spent maybe 20 or 25 minutes just asking him about the different plants and the different animals in the area and how humans are impacting the moon that we're on. And it was really cool, actually, to hear the fluidity of the story. And I think what I loved most of all, and this kind of ties into it, that it's really not as Disney as you would think, but in a good way. So in other words, the story is really there, and it's so, and we've used the word immersive quite often when we talk about attractions, but like you said, this one really is. It's taken it to a whole new level where you're sucked in from every level. And I think the thing I loved the most when you first walk in is you have no idea where you're going. There's no signs to point you to the attractions. There's nothing that tells you need to go here for a Mickey bar, because there's not one there.
That's so true. I didn't even notice that, but it's so true.
It really leaves you to have to walk through and find your way around and discover with every step, which I found so refreshing. And when we, even down to the level of walking into the merchandise areas, which we'll talk about, it doesn't have the, Disney in your face. You really can make yourself mentally transport to a different location, because it just doesn't feel like Disney, yet it really is from the story level, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see like a blue-faced Mickey Mouse, but you didn't. I mean, it's really
Yes.
Mickey's kind of absent in a good way.
And it's almost like having your own private VIP tour guide if you can get to one of those ace experts.
Yeah.
They were chock full of knowledge.
They were great.
They really were.
Yeah, and the other thing that I'd like, and look, I spent a lot of my time in Pandora just wandering, right? So the no sign, that very deliberate choice, because I think like Disney's Animal Kingdom, like Discovery Island, they want you to wander through this land. They want you to see the floating mountains and the streams and the rockwork from all angles. They want you to sort of get lost a little bit along the way. And when I did that, it took me till my third day there before I started to find some of the things that were hidden. And when I say hidden, I don't mean just some of the Pandoran wildlife, but when I found the RDI, the Scorpion gunship, overgrown, buried in the bushes, I'm like, how have I walked by that for 3 days? And and I'm like, and I love that mix of the biology and the metal in the land. You see it at Satuli, you see it in the queues. You really get the sense of how the RDA that was there earlier, a generation ago, has been sort of overgrown and overtaken by the environment. And the word that I kept on using when we were broadcasting was like, I'm like, this land feels alive to me. It feels alive because of what you see, because of what you hear. And I implore you, if you have not been there, or if you've been there only in the day or only in the night, you need to go there at dusk. You need to listen for the transition from daytime to night, because it's not just visual. There are deliberate sounds that change throughout the day. So if you think about a natural environment, during the day, all the animals are out, they're roaming around, they're foraging, but at night, what happens? The prey goes away and the predators come out, and they are seeking their prey because they want to, and you can hear it in the animals. And I talked to some of the Imagineers about the animals that they recorded, both from the film and working with some of the folks from Disney's Animal Kingdom about the predator and prey type environments. Like, everything is so incredibly deliberate, but you really almost have to sit there and close your eyes and just listen.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that the average guest will likely visit the two attractions and then leave and miss so much more that is there, the way you said it, with the sounds. And like, I remember there was an Imagineer we had spoken to that told us about it doesn't just go from day to night. There is a transition of how it goes, and they said to stay there while it's transitioning, and you'll notice so much about the sounds and the light, and there's a lot more into it. But just to second what you said, Lou, do you remember those creatures? They had like a shell on, and they spit water in the little pond. Yep. It wasn't until the third day there that I actually saw that. Don't know how I missed it. Completely missed it. So there is a lot of little trails that you really do have to go and explore.
Yeah, there are a lot of trails. I noticed that on the map, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't go back through this area. I need to go back through there. Yeah.
Well, and
right, it looks like you just run from left to right, but it's not.
It's not. And it's, you should not go, I mean, obviously get there, get on Flight of Passage, and then go wander, but you are meant to wander. And I actually never picked up a map. I wanted to explore, but John, you brought up a great point. A lot of the environment is very much interaction. So there are some of the plant and animal life will respond to tactile interaction. There's a lot of new motion sensor technology that Disney Research implemented here in Pandora. You might not have seen it all those first couple of days, but the more, and there are some signage here and there that will let you know that there's some water interactions or some sound interactions. And that's one of the things I love, is that the land itself is an attraction. I think, and look, the land itself to me is a character. I don't just mean the cast members, because that was a question that I had gotten a number of times, where are the Na'vi? Like, where are the characters? And the thing that we as guests have to realize is this is not about Sully and Natiri. This is about your story, the story of Pandora is the story that you are creating. You are the character. And it made me think, and actually there's an article on the WDW Radio blog from one of our blog writers about the same thing. This was a tactic that goes back to 1970 when Snow White opened, and everybody's like, hey, where's Snow White? They're like, no, you're Snow White. You are the reason why the princess isn't there is because you are going through that story as her. In Pandora, you are the character, and they want you to create your own story.
Now I know why you made that reference. I was a little confused, but I got it now.
Give me time. I eventually get it.
You eventually get there.
When you said it was Snow White's Scary Adventure, I'm like, what?
What is Mangello thinking?
Got it.
And did you guys pay attention to, again, I'm going back to the audio. Did you listen to the animals? Did you listen to some of the,
yes.
There was some of the music, the James Horner music. Some of it was from the original score. Some of it was based on the original score. So, John, you've seen Avatar 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time you see it. But you would recognize some of them. And the one question I got a lot when I was broadcasting live was, do they sell an audio CD, or can you somehow get the audio from Pandora? And you can't, which is fine, because I think you should go there to experience it. But the mixture of the sounds of these Pandoran animals, the ambient noise in the background, and the mixture of music that comes in really makes for a wonderful, truly multi-sensory environment.
Yes. I know we're still going to cover Flight of Passage, but remind me about the music there, because it's mostly absent until the end. The James Horner soundtrack comes out, and that's when it really gets me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think listen, let's talk about the 500-pound banshee in the room, because there are two, and I say two because I still consider some of the other things attractions, but there are two attractions in Pandora. There's the Navi River Journey, and there's Avatar Flight of Passage. And I think this is the one that we need to, although I think you should experience Navi River Journey first for a better experience, Avatar Flight of Passage, and I want to hear your opinions before I express my own, but I will tell you, for me, especially the first time, it was an incredibly, truly, legitimately emotional experience. Amanda Tinney, I know the same holds true for you.
Yeah, halfway through, I was with a group of about 7 people that I had been touring around with, and I'm a grown woman, and about halfway through that experience, I was like, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Keep it together, Amanda. Keep it together. And I don't want to spoil the experience for anyone, but I'll just say you have a point in the ride where you can take a little breather. There's beautiful music. It's all-encompassing, visceral experience, and I just was crying. And everyone, John's got video of it. He posted it on Facebook, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, she's crying out of fear." But it wasn't that. It was just.
No, okay. Let me just tell you why. Let me tell you why I jumped on you with the video. I saw the tears, and I knew that was different for you. Like, I did not expect this from you. And I wanted to prove to people why I was going so crazy over the ride. I was like, great, another crazy person. Let me prove there's more than one of us. And I literally took advantage of that situation and exploited it and said, I have to film her right now because I wanted to bottle it up, this emotion. We're not getting this again. Amanda. It is emotional,
really good. Yeah.
Okay, why the tears though? What are you feeling?
Because it was amazing.
That's Flight of the Banshee.
Yeah.
That's Flight of Passage, the Banshee ride at Avatar, World of Pandora, World of Avatar. Again. Can't even talk. Again.
Speechless. He's speechless. He's speechless.
And it was great that I got you for a couple of seconds. And when you said, because it was great, I'm like, yeah, but what are you feeling? I was like a therapist for that minute.
That wasn't even the words. That was like the only thing that I could say. Like I said, a lot of the time that I was in there, I was completely speechless because this was such a new experience for me because I had never seen the movie. I literally went in not knowing what to expect. And I remember afterwards, we walked down into the merchandise area and Bill Burke pulled me aside and he's like, what was it for you that did that? And it was just, I couldn't even verbalize it. I literally, and you said it perfect, Panda, you said, you flew. And I literally felt like I had flown. It's the closest thing to unassisted flight you will ever feel in your entire life. I don't know how they did it, but I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. It's just amazing. And it was a little bit different for me the second time. And I think it was because I went in and it was this brand spanking new experience the first time. And I wrote about this. I was like, you know, when you're a Disney file, like we all are, and you go to the parks over and over again, that shiny penny feeling starts to wear off. You still love it so much because you have an emotional connection with it, but you can never have the first time experience again.
Right,
and
right.
That's
and they can still wow you. Like after all
yes.
you know about Disney and have been there, they still can do it to you.
Yes. Yeah.
My first thing was, for me, I had heard from a lot of people that if you're a larger person, you probably will not fit or have trouble. And so part of my, excitement was, hey, I locked in. I can't believe I'm going to do this, because I had totally prepared to take they call it the walk of shame, where you can't. And I will say this, that I've gotten letters from like so many larger people. Can I fit? Like I know their measurements. And the truth is, it's not really weight-based as much as it is just
body composition.
Proportion completely. And I joke around that when I got off, you could hear the Tupperware freshness seal. I just fit. Oh. But I definitely tell people, don't be embarrassed. There is a test seat outside. You might fit. Go do it and try it, because it really is worth it. And supposedly the engineers are trying to lower the tolerances so that more people can enjoy it.
And John, I believe that a cast member, I don't know if you're with us on this ride because we wrote it multiple times, but a cast member said the more practice that they've gotten, the better they are at getting people clipped in, locked in, and whatever. So
yeah, a lot of people don't know how to. Yeah.
Yeah, as more people have gone for these previews, I think that the cast members working with guests have been able to finagle it, like move your leg up or scoot forward a bit. You know?
Yeah.
So even if
sometimes
you were
it's
turned
just
away,
scooting forward.
Yeah, even if you were turned away before, go back onto that test vehicle out front and try again. See maybe if you can, maneuver yourself a little bit differently.
Agree.
Yeah, and for those who haven't seen the vehicle, it's like a small motorcycle, sitting on a motorcycle, and people have talked about, they're concerned about being claustrophobic or the restraints. I can't speak to it because I'm not sensitive to it, but I felt as though the restraints were not encumbering at all. It's a small pad that gently presses and then pulls away from your back, and then two small pads on the back of your legs. So Becky, just quickly, I want to talk about your emotional experience, which I captured on audio, and
I know.
The ride vehicle itself.
Yeah, for me, I was overthinking it because I had heard that it was a flight and you're on a Banshee. That's all I knew beforehand. So the entire time I'm thinking, really, how are they going to make me feel like I'm flying? Because we're going to be in a big car with a whole bunch of other people. How's that going to feel, right? I was really trying to overanalyze it. And so when we got in the queue, and, first the queue itself, which we can talk about in a minute, but when we got into the second holding area, and it starts to explain, and I'm not going to ruin it for everybody, but it starts to explain how your physical body is going to fly. And all of a sudden I started realizing that, okay, they did a really good job of drawing the line from A to B to C to D, because now this is going to be cool.
Exactly, yeah.
And you have to really pay attention through the queue to get how this is going to be done. But when you get into that room with the ride vehicle, I think by that point, I was already in awe, realizing what was going to be happening here. And it's genius how they give you space to put your stuff away without having to have it beneath you or to the side of you. It's back behind you. You get into that vehicle, and I am a little claustrophobic. So I was a little bit scared of maybe not scared. It's just a little bit tentative about having my legs locked into anything. And when you get in position and the pad comes up against your back and against the back of your calves, you're in. You know that you're not going to be flying out of anything anytime soon. But then you have that little strange vibration on your back, like a TINS device. Which I think the first time I felt that, I almost hit the ceiling of, oh my gosh, what is that? You know.
I was like, no,
I
keep
thought
that
that I
going.
was
That
getting
feels really good.
electrocuted.
I know, it really did. It
Felt like a massage.
Make sure you use the bathroom before you get on the ride.
Yes. Oh, good point.
I
There are a
actually thought
couple
that feeling was a mistake. I was like, oh no, was there an exposed?
Oh no, what's going on? But you look down and you can see your face as things are happening, and the strange little goggles aren't going to make any fashion statements soon. I will say that, but it doesn't matter because the Banshee doesn't care. When that ride started, when that I don't want to call it a ride. When that experience began, I was speechless. And when I got off that experience, Lou, how often do you find me without a word to say? I didn't know. I couldn't get a word out. I had to like put my back up against the wall while two tiny human Mangellos were jumping up and down in just the most ecstatic I think I've seen them in so long. And your wife was just, all she could say was, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I flew. And that's exactly how it felt.
Oh my God. We just flew. Like, you flew. That was probably the most amazing thing I have ever done. Like, amazing.
Isn't that insane? I'm speechless. That was amazing. Oh my God.
The really cool thing about it was how you feel him breathe under you.
And
you
move,
feel this animal and you feel it.
And the smells and the atmosphere
water.
and the water. And if you're afraid of heights,
don't care.
Oh my God. It's
fine.
Amazing. Amazing.
It's flying. It's like, at first I'm like, wait, this can't actually feel like you're flying. Like, nobody's true. And then, like, you got, like, the wind just, like, it, and, like,
Becky is speechless.
You are flying.
Becky is speechless.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
That was
the most incredible thing I've ever done.
I think that's what heaven looks like. Like, honestly, that was insane.
Amazing.
That was like.
I think I have to do it 10 more times to really get all the details.
I looked over to watch your reactions, and you were exactly as I was the first time, and this time I wrote it. You were smiling, and your mouths were agape.
I can't even. I can't even. There's no.
You don't notice that it's happening. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah. You don't realize like exactly what's gonna happen. You don't realize that that's the experience you're gonna get. It's so captivating. Yeah. It is.
You're riding a banshee.
You are.
Right. You are riding a banshee.
A literal dragon.
The piece that I loved the most, seriously, was underneath. You could feel it breathe. You could feel the body expand and contract.
You could feel like everything.
Yeah.
You can feel it when you drop, when you feel it go upside down, you can feel it.
You flew. You just flew.
You did.
You just flew.
Totally.
That's the closest thing
to
flying that you can do without actually flying.
Right.
I think.
Amazing.
I wish I could take pictures of your faces because there's a look of shock.
I couldn't believe it. I never thought in a million years that was going to be the experience.
And taking a different tactic on it. I don't have the best eyesight in the world, and I'm blind in one eye, and I have trouble with that type of screen typically. And I did get to really feel it, which is so much different than any of the others I've done with the goggles.
And you were immersed. Totally immersed.
But the smells.
I know.
It was the most amazing ride I've ever been on in my entire life. It was I literally entered an avatar.
There you go.
Oh my God, that was you're just like on it. You're like, wait,
You're speechless.
Again,
You're speechless.
Totally. I think you could probably ride that 10 times in a row and not see the same thing twice.
Because there's so much going on the screen.
And the wind coming at you, like, I can't even.
Yeah, it must my hair.
Oh my God. Like, I got teary-eyed at one point. Like, I couldn't believe what was happening. Like, I was so amazed. Like, Disney outdid
When I said it's an emotional experience, it's an emotional experience.
Completely emotional. Completely. Especially because this is my favorite park, so this makes it even that much better.
Wait, well, we left your favorite park because now we're in Pandora.
Right.
Now it's time to go get some banshees.
And there's still another ride to do! That was the first time through. When we did it the second time through, the apprehension, because now I knew what to expect, allowed me to really pay attention to more detail, and I saw more things than I saw the first time. And I think that for those that are going on it over and over again, you'll find yourself looking in different places and maybe picking up things that you hadn't seen before, and the smells and the sounds and the sights and just the relaxation and feeling. I don't know if I don't want to give anything away, but there are, it touches all the senses between sight and sound and touch in such a way that I was just blown away. I couldn't believe what I had just experienced.
So
Agree.
the first time I rode, I came off and I was very hyper aware of what I was doing while I was riding. I went from literally sitting there agape at what I saw. I found myself laughing and smiling, like, because I was in awe of the experience. And look, I came off and I saw an imaginary friend, and he's like, "What did you think?" We all said the same thing. I went, "I just flew." And my voice cracked like Peter Brady, and I was choked up again. And I said to him, I said, I cried on this. I said, I cried because I was overwhelmed with emotion because of the sensation that I gave. We talk about it being a 360-degree, 5-sensory experience. You feel the wind on your face, the smell of the dirt and the trees and the water. The sound is completely binaural. And, this is not a spoiler. We felt that banshee breathing underneath us.
That's what I didn't want to say, because I wasn't sure if that would be giving away, but you're so right. And when you could hear it breathe and you could feel it breathe at the same time. And it surrounded you. You were flying on the back of a banshee.
And,
for some reason, I'm sorry,
go ahead, John. I don't know.
For some reason, you could also sense the wings flapping, and when he landed or when she landed and when she took off.
And not in a way.
There's a lot more there.
Yeah, people have asked about motion sensitivity. Again, I can't speak to it. Your vehicle does not really move, and I don't want to spoil it, but I can only, and a comparison to Soarin' is unfair, but for an explanation of the type of ride experience, your vehicle, your thing actually moves probably less, but the sensation that you have of flight. Look, man, when you enter that cave and in the curl of that wave, my good Gandhi, man. I could not.
Hold on one second, Lou.
That was the crying moment.
Yeah.
Lou, I looked behind us at one point, like in my 8th ride, and I thought the vehicles moved quite a bit, more than I thought. When I looked in the back and I looked at the storage bin, that storage bin was going up and down like 3 or 4 feet, and I was like, "Oh."
Most
check
people
that
have,
out next time you're there.
Well, I will tell you,
most people have an issue with the vision to the movement, and for those of us who have had motion issues in the past, take a Bonine a couple hours before you go, and you're going to be fine.
I mean, I think you all, and again, not speaking to an individual's, subjective feelings and sensitivities, but it's so good. Like I would almost say you have to try it, if you can.
Yes.
And the thing that I felt about this too, unlike Soarin', is this was a very intimate experience. I was the only person there. Unless I looked around intentionally trying to find somebody else, I didn't see or feel like there was anybody else there but me.
Yep.
I think they intentionally blurred out of the very far left and right of your goggles to prevent you from looking over. And it was almost like a Haunted Mansion effect where you're there with a bunch of other people in those cars, but yet you don't notice them. It really did feel like that. Yeah, if you wanted to feel like you were on it on your own, you absolutely could. You don't feel like you're flying with others when you in fact are.
Not at all.
I can't wait to actually ride with others to potentially look at them. Somebody who's never ridden it before, because I want to see that reaction that I know that I had.
I was like, that's what I did with you guys. That's what I rode with Becky and my family's first ride, and I spent a lot of time looking over at them again with their mouths open, laughing at what they're seeing, and just in awe of what it was. Like, sometimes when you go on an attraction, you have to deliberately suspend your disbelief. There's no intentional suspension of that. You feel as though, I will not say you, I felt as though I was somewhere else on the back of this flying beast. And the more I rode it, I spent time not just looking ahead, but looking, in my periphery. And I saw so many other incredibly sharp and crisp details. I saw other Na'vi. I saw other Banshees. I saw other plant and animal life. Like when you're in that cave, look all the way up.
Yep.
Amanda, you said the cave is where you sort of lost it?
Yeah, because it's just so exhilarating, and then you get a moment. And it's almost like, I think that was when the music really came in too, so I was being affected by that, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened? And oh my gosh, now I have a moment to take it all in and somewhat process it before we took off again. And I was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And then after that moment was over, I was just like, ah! And my husband and I had an opportunity to ride with you. I think it was like the third day, and we both had ridden it a bunch of times. And I did look over at you and just pearly whites. You were still grinning and smiling. And, it wasn't like you were just analyzing it. You were still in that moment. And we rode Soarin', a couple hours later, and it was like my grandmother's old, film. And I was like, why are their feet? And you know what I mean? It's just... It'll ruin you. It'll ruin you.
You're right. And when we talk, and that's why I said before, like, ride Na'vi River Journey first. But there is a sense of reality that you get on that attraction that I don't think that you feel anywhere else. And it's a layer. There's depth to that sense of reality, because I think no detail is left. Look, if you would have been flying over that one section with the herd of animals and you didn't smell the dirt, right? Like it makes it such a complete experience. I'm like, you feel, you almost want to reach out and like touch something. And the little bit of the wind in your face, like what a difference that makes.
What about the water? It's not just squirting water at you. It's literally a humidity mist, a humidifier.
Yeah, be prepared for that.
It's exactly what you would expect, though, from the experience that you're seeing on the screen. It's perfectly done.
Yeah, it's
now another.
Go ahead.
Another attraction, because a lot of people will probably have a fast pass, and they will miss the other attraction, which is the queue for this ride.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Get your fast pass, absolutely, but you have to do the queue at least once.
At least, and I have another analogy for this queue. The only thing stopping me from running off and on and off and on and off and on is the mecca that you have to take up the mountain past bridges and waterfalls
and caves.
You're literally You're literally going up the mountain to the rookery to get your Ikran. And it is like crossing the Seven Seas Lagoon to get to the Magic Kingdom.
I have never stopped so many times to look at detail and just looked at another family behind us and go ahead, please go ahead, because we're going to stop and look at this. There were so many picture opportunities and drawings and cave drawings and science experiments and details that were left over from the environment from the movie. And it was amazing just to go through the queue. And I think you're right. That is almost a huge part of the attraction itself, but it is long and you're going up. And that way, when you get off the ride, don't feel so bad about having many of the Mora margaritas, because you would have earned them.
But you know what? The reason why I like the queue and I enjoy the queue is because the queue tells a story. There's a narrative that takes place there about how this organic landscape transitions into the abandoned RDA facility, and then the organic life takes over again. And there's the bioluminescent area, and then you go back into the research facility. I never told so many people to pass me as I did when I was in there, because it's about the details. It's about the story. There's some amazing technology. Look, those little black organisms that clean the water, I could have watched them all day long. Like, I want one of those. I went into the store. I said, can I get one of those things?
You saw these things for the first time in your life, right? I mean, everybody now can tell you how they're dumb, but I never saw that before.
No, I haven't either.
There's someone also pointed out to me there's a book. I don't want to spoil this. Well, this
Jane Goodall book.
Well, there's the book that's in that research lab, that center glass area, and it's on the corner right in front of Hank in the Tank. Is that what they're calling him? I don't know, but it's I think that's what the cast members are calling him. But there's a book that's sitting there, and it's the woman that's in charge of all of the animals. And when you go into a little bit further, the briefing room, she says her name, and I'm like, oh, that's her book that was sitting there. Yeah. That was just something that someone had pointed out to me.
Dr. Ogden, about the
That's
ekrons,
it.
yes.
Dr. Ogden, yes. Yeah. Her book's in there,
if you look at the workstation just before you get into the sort of the briefing room area, there are some very cool details in that workstation. And again, you get the sense that there was an individual, working there as part of this conservation group. And you really, again, you don't have to see the movie to understand what this facility used to be and what it is now. And now I have to call him Hank. And the Hank in the Tank is just spectacular. There's so much about the queue.
Creepy and cool.
When you go back and watch the movie, you think about the queue again, because after this past week I watched the film again. I'm like, I was there. This is where I flew past. This was the facility that was overgrown. I'm like, I get it. Like, it made the connection for me, and I appreciated the film and now the attraction in a completely new way.
I can't wait
Amanda,
to watch the film.
You still have to watch. We have to do that.
Yes, I know. And I had a different experience in the briefing room. I've had. I mean, there's different things that happen.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was another thing. I was surprised. I was like, wait a second. This isn't the way it's supposed to go.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Sometimes you have parasites. Sometimes you don't.
Well, and I was going to say, without that, the pre-show areas, plural, because I think the caves are a pre-show. I think the pre-show load area is very, very well done, and the experience is different. But we keep talking about these immersive, interactive type experiences. You almost don't feel like you're waiting in line. You're navigating your way through the story. And when you're in that room and you go and they explain the process of how the connection to the Na'vi is made, I think it's really, again, I watch other guests, after I sort of watched it for the first time, and I watched their reactions, and they suspend their disbelief very easily, and they buy into what type of experience they're going through.
Yeah. Can we also talk about, this is not an omnimover, but there are, I mean, you're standing in one line, but once you get ready to get in your briefing room, there's a lot of different ways that guests can go. So I think that helps move that line, that queue line along a little bit.
There's, I believe, if my math is correct, at one time 196 or so people are in the attraction at once.
Right.
Because there's multiple bays and multiple queues. And you don't realize it when you're walking through. You think that you're all sort of going to the same place, but there's sort of 4 kind of different loading bay areas. And again,
well done.
You feel like that facility has been there for a generation.
Yeah.
So I could talk about that attraction all day, all night. I will say this, and I've said it when I was there. I have said it to some of the Imagineers that I wanted to hug. I think that Flight of Passage, and I have no problem sticking to this. I think Flight of Passage is without question the most significant and greatest achievement that Imagineering has ever done. I felt
Completely
that way
agree.
about Cars Land. I think this takes entertainment experiences to an unparalleled level.
I'm picking up what you're laying down. I agree 100%.
And it's evident in the emotion that people are coming off with. Again, even if you're not, brought to tears, people are still getting a very big emotional connection, and that's the point of it.
Absolutely. And obviously I want to hear from you, the listener that's sitting at the table with us. I want to hear what your first experience is or was like. Like, if you haven't been yet, when you go, call me, call the voicemail as soon as you get off the attraction, and I want to hear your reaction as well. See if it happens to be what like mine and Amanda's and John's and Becky's and my family's was as well. But let's look, there's a lot more to talk about. This is going to be like a 6-hour show. Let's go over to the other experience, the Navi River Journey.
Let's give some love to the Navi River Journey.
And I think it deserves love. I wish I would have done it first because I was on such a high when I came. Look, it's a very different type of experience.
And wait, this is worth mentioning, Lou.
Go ahead.
That it's all in the same building. Like, even though you don't see Flight of Passage, the Navi River Journey is in the same building, but yet it's on an opposite end of the land. So it feels completely away, but yet it's not. It's the weirdest thing to me. Well, and as you exit Navi River Journey, you realize how close you are to the entrance to Flight of Passage. But again, there's no distinction between the two areas because that mountain just sort of flows from one into the other. Navi River Journey is I can't even call it. It's a non-traditional, I think, boat ride, dark ride through the bioluminescent Pandora jungles at nighttime. I've heard it described from some of the Imagine guys as a lyrical journey in a sacred cave, and I think that very much encapsulates what this is. The thing that impressed me, there was two things that I noticed. Was one, the layers of effects, the both physical, projected, audio effects. I'm sometimes very hyper aware of what I hear as much as what I see. But the other thing about this that I noticed was, unlike many other or most other attractions, there is no concrete storyline. This is not a 3-act play like a Snow White's Scary Adventures or Peter Pan's Flight or any of the other. It's very much open-ended where you're supposed to... It's about the journey, I think, right? I think it really much is about the journey as opposed to telling a specific story. And then obviously there is that huge payoff at the very end. So I would love to hear, again, we'll go Amanda, Becky, John, your thoughts on Navi River Journey.
What I loved about it is that there was something going on all around you. And I mean, even above your head, those gigantic leaves with the little guys crawling across and spinning plants. And, that I thought was amazing just because you had something to look at 360 all around you. And then that Shaman of Songs, I would just sing that for the rest of the day. It's a small world after all, but it just, oh no.
Amanda, how does that song go?
No. But I mean, I found myself repeating what the shaman was saying after I got off of the attraction. So
I've said "ah-eh-wah" way too many times.
Ah-eh-wah.
Yes.
Well, for me, I really enjoyed it. I, like you, Lou, wish I had done that one first, just because it is such a different experience. And when you've got that high from the other one, you still can appreciate what you're going through, but I do it the other way. It's actually one of my pro tips that I've been using. Hit the river first. What I really liked was the layering and watching the animals approach the riverside. And I know they're not panthers, but they looked like panthers.
Viper wolves.
Okay, that works for me. When they moved forward, I know how it's done, but it was so well done that I'm thinking, kitty. They're so cute, and it was done so well. But again, you see the bioluminescence in there as well. That's kind of the expectation that I have of that land when it first came up. But it's all about the shaman and the singing and the fluid motion of her arms. And it's captivating. And I think when I watched when I first saw it in the distance, I kept my eye. I just couldn't look away because it was so amazing that wasn't a real person, because it was such a fluid motion and movement. And then as we moved past her, I kept watching. I didn't want to look away because it was just so amazing what I was seeing.
I'm going to agree with both Amanda and Becky and go into just a drop of detail with stuff they haven't said. The boat itself, I think, is indicative of the land and the conservation. It's just a 2-row boat, whereas you would think that they were going to cram people into like this, great movie ride type boat and just put 100 people in. No, it feels personal and cozy and intimate. The layering, when you know that it's a screen, people still look at it and go, that's not real? That's not a figure? No, that's a screen. But the layering, there was a screen behind there doing something, and then in some cases a third one up and behind those with other things. Also, the way Lou said, there's no complete story. It's the randomness of nature. There were animals that I saw on the second and third trip down the river that literally weren't at the screen at the time I was there the first and second time. So you do notice different things. Then remember that log where there's like a little pond of flowing water? The insects on that log. Yeah. Even if you know how it's done, I was looking at it going, no, that centipede is real. Did you watch the centipede go in and out of that log?
Yeah.
That was very cool.
I was like, no, I can grab that, can I? And then the shaman at the end, she is just really beautiful with her singing and her movements and the way she bangs on plant drums or whatever they might be. It is, again, I heard a few people come off going, oh, It's a Small World. And I say that has as much in common with It's a Small World as Pizza Hut does with STK Steakhouse. Stop it.
I love how you bring it back to food. This is why we're friends.
It's all food. And it really is, and I like that it's very different than the Flight of Passage and that it's a completely different experience. And I hope that, I hate to tell adults to tell their kids to enjoy something, but stop, smell the roses, look around and explain why you should be appreciative of all this stuff rather than go, there's no explosions, so that's take up.
But I think you're right. And the more I rode the attraction, the more detail I picked up, looking at some of the handmade totems that are in there as you approach and the shaman of songs. And look, from a total geek perspective, the shaman is the most complicated AA figure ever created by Imagineering. I mean, you look now at Hopper or the Wicked Witch from Great Movie Ride, which was for a long time some of the most well done. It's on a completely different level. I mean, this character, she emotes. When we talk about the fluidity, there's a grace to her. And then when you remember her size, I think you really come to appreciate it even more. And I think the more you learn about what this character's story is, how she plays into Navi River Journey, and this sort of, again, go back now and watch the film, and her connection to not just the environment, but this light, this life force that exists inside Pandora. Again, it brings it all back to truly, to use an Epcot-ism, living with the land. And the other thing, too, about this, it is a completely family-friendly attraction, too. So little kids, older people, there's no sensitivity, really there's nothing that jumps out at you. There's no flashing strobe lights. This goes back to the idea of what Walt wanted of an attraction that everybody can enjoy together.
Correct.
Amanda, just a couple of bars of the A'ewa song.
Oh, I think we all just sang it a couple minutes ago, didn't we?
Lou, come on, you've got a great memory. Go ahead.
Hey, are we going to talk about food?
So I was saving
Amanda, why did you just save him?
I was saving the best for. All right, so wait, I want to get to food, but I do want to save the best for last because, like Spaceballs, the movie, it's also about the merchandise. So,
of course.
Pandora the lunchbox, Pandora the flamethrower. So, the merchandise location, Wind Traders merchandise, and forgive me for using or overusing this word, is absolutely an interactive, experiential type store as well. there's a couple things I want to touch on quickly and then hear your opinions. The first thing that I noticed, and I love and appreciate, you are 4.4 million light years away from Disney World. There is no Disney merchandise sold there at all. There is nothing with Mickey on it, no pins with Mickey. I literally bought something just so I could get a bag, because even the bags are, I kid you not, they're Pandora bags. But I also did both of the interactive experiences. And if you guys did, I want to talk. My son got a Banshee, and I was turned into an avatar. I did the avatar maker experience. There's a third interactive experience where you can create your own Navi necklace. But that is the thing that I love about this, is that the story of Pandora is integrated so very well and so very deeply into this merchandise location as well. And now you guys have at it. I would love to hear your thoughts. So John, since you went last before, I'll let you go first.
Okay, I did buy a Banshee. I did the whole experience where you connect with the Banshee. It was awesome. And kids were getting a lot more out of that, of course, than the adults. But I had to have my Banshee, which I don't want this to come across as a shameless plug, but if you have one at home, you might want to get rid of it, because on the beginning of my show this month, they talk about how they really want to take over the Tiki Room and kill everybody in there. There is a plot. I didn't even know about this when I bought him. So he was worth every bit of $50. What amazes me is I love puppets. So I'm so thrilled that kids today are just embracing this, and like everybody's walking around with one on their shoulder. So I love the whole Banshee thing with the wings move. It makes sounds, mouth moves, head goes back and forth. Love that. I love the whole store there. I really want to buy everything. I love
the Banshee experience. So for those people who don't know, John, you do not go to a shelf and pick a Banshee off the shelf. You go and a cast member is there with you, and you connect. Your Banshee picks you as much as you pick your Banshee.
Correct. If you have a color in mind that you like, you might want to let your Banshee guide, or whatever they're calling them, know that color might be connecting with you better than another. But yes, they really make you feel like, oh, you're in it now. You can't back off. You got to buy this thing now. It connected with you. It's going to cry when you leave. But
my son has one.
I'm sad.
My son has one, and he treats it like a pet. Like he loves, because the Banshee 2, it's an interactive thing, right? You have that cable that goes around you, so you can articulate it. But you do need to sort of train your Banshee, right, in order to make the wings move at a much greater distance and flow a little bit. So they want you to not just buy it and put it on a shelf. They want you to play with it and interact with it and, treat it like it's a little pet. And I look, again, it's about that suspension of disbelief.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's also
you did buy the perch. They sell a perch for $15, which is awesome. It's a perch that you could put him on when he's not on your shoulder, or when she's not on your shoulder.
And of course, it's travel size for your convenience. So just don't get it wet after midnight, or so somebody said.
No, don't feed it. Don't get it wet. Don't feed it after midnight.
Don't feed it. Okay, I knew that there was a story of something after midnight, because
unlike Lou Mangello,
if they grow and get big, they'll eat your head, and that's bad.
Or a tiki bird.
Or 10 for snacks.
Did any of you guys do the Avatar Maker experience?
Not yet. I did see your video on it, and I want to hear more.
I had to do it. And I will tell you, I broadcast the first part of it live. So if you go to the Facebook page, you can find some of the live videos there. And I totally bought into the experience, right? Because when you sit in the chair to get scanned, there's an entire story. And I had an exceptional cast member, as I think they all are there, not just conveying the story, but what the experience was like. He was radioing into other people who were in a different area, who were in the control room. Like, I loved the layers and the depth of story. Then you get this cool card. You're called back to come back about an hour later, and there is another process that you go through to pick up your avatar figure. I did a video of that second part as well. But I don't know if you guys ever did like either the Star Wars D-Tech Me or the Iron Man one at D23X. So I have an Iron Man figure. I've got a Stormtrooper figure. But these are 10-inch action figures. And when you sit there, you choose what body type you want. So I think there's 1 male, 2 different female, and 3 different children. But you also get to select your eye color, your hair, and the type of face paint, the sort of face art that he has. So it really is custom to you. But the cool thing is they're not static resin figures. They articulate. I mean, they really are sort of action figures. And yes, you can even buy like clothes for them because they're meant to be played with.
That's awesome. Did you buy clothes for yours?
Not yet.
I mean, we know what to get him for Christmas.
He has clothes now. I mean, it's I don't have a naked Navi on my shelf because that would be creepy. Like, he comes with clothes, but you can buy additional action packs for him. It's like my G.I. Joe figure from the 70s.
One
like
thing
a
that
Banshee Rider outfit.
One thing I really loved about the shop as a whole was that it wasn't, again, as we were talking about, it's not Disney. So you're not going to walk in there and you're going to find your Mickey ears and so forth. But it's more like Navi equipment. But they have the cultural artifacts and all the animal toys and the science kits. Everything that, again, the store is even more so an extension of the story, which I found really cool. And all of the merchandise that lit up.
Yeah.
There's a whole section that's little sandals, thongs that light up, or the shirts that did, or the discs, or
there's a wallet too.
Yeah.
You put your iPhone in, and when it rings or something like that, it lights up.
That's really cool. If I could carry a purse, I would totally get one.
Oh, come on, Lou. We need
It's European.
Let's get your man bag. Get out the man bag and man up with your man bag.
Lou, did you get the kids a decoder by any chance?
That's the other thing.
The language, the language, which is spoken
translator.
everywhere by everybody.
Yeah,
yes, they all saying, yeah, go ahead.
It's so, what a brilliant piece of merchandise, because the translator itself has the different card packs. And the card packs are color coded. So like the blue ones are nouns and the purple ones are adjectives. And the more rare ones, so it turns into a card collection scenario as well that you're addicted to, because they got rare cards that are green for plants, and the yellow ones are equipment, I think, or gear. So I thought that was absolutely fascinating that you could use the cards, collect the cards, use the translator, learn the Na'vi language so that we can pronounce half the stuff that we're actually seeing on the boards.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was just brilliant.
Yeah, the translator is $19.99. The card packs, I think, were $6.99. There are 90 cards in all. So at some point, somebody's got to do something on Facebook where we know who's got duplicates and do trading. And then they said there's secret cards that I don't know how you would even get them. So
someone had mentioned to me to ask cast members for cards. So I don't know if that's might be where you would get them, or maybe you
like
could trade with them and they've got this. I don't know.
I bet the Ace people have them. That would be brilliant, because that would get you to talk with them. That's cool.
Is it going to be like sorcerers, like during the Na'vi holidays? Are there going to be like other Na'vi holiday cards?
Yeah, right. Probably.
You know, that's a great question, though. Is Christmas time and holidays, will they not, decorate this place, or will they say for the humans we're going to do a little something, or will there be special Na'vi holidays? Very interesting. I never thought of that till just now.
Well, because we talked about the characters. Look, there are people who were born on Pandora. There are humans who were born there, as well as the expats. Again, everybody has their own backstory, so it'll be interesting to see, do they bring a little bit of home to Pandora, or is it still is it very, very separate? Or do they celebrate some sort of, wacky Pandoran holiday?
And then the humans, the humans that were running around with the guy with the stick that had the story all in the stick. I had a 7:00 date with him. I'm saying.
Oh, calm down over there, you.
They were so fun, though, to interact with. And if you ask them about one of the gals was running around and she had a shawl on that had different patterns laced into it, and you ask her about that and what it means, again, you could spend an entire day just talking to the people inhabiting the area, and an entire day just meandering around looking at the detail. There's so much here.
And true to everything Disney does, everything speaks and everything has a story. So there's a reason why, the mossy walls look the way they do. There's a reason why some of the fixtures that you'll see out in the courtyards, again, look down. I won't spoil it for you, but look down in some of the courtyards and look not just at some of the footprints that you'll see in day and at night, but some of the imprints that are there as well. And the thing too, John, about the Banshee experience, I want to sort of, wrap one thing up. We talked about how Pandora really reflects the conservation initiative of Disney's Animal Kingdom. When you get your Banshee, they explain to you that the naturalists explain to you that the Banshee itself is a symbol of their commitment to their environment, of working together with the natural inhabitants of the environment. And they encourage the guests that are leaving to make a pledge. Like, you actually take like a little pledge to respect and protect the world of Pandora and back on Earth. So that message of conservation and environmentality very much carries over there.
Yeah, speaking of that, and I haven't gone since the media event, did you see the conservation exploration thing that happens on people's cell phones? It's been on Facebook. When they get into Pandora, I don't know if they text something, but one of the guides says, "Hi, welcome to Pandora. We have a mission for you. If you complete it, we will donate $10 to the Disney Conservation Fund. If you don't want to participate, we'll still donate the $10 by clicking here. And if you participate, it says, go find this statue or go find this." I really can't wait to do more of this, but there are cell phone exploration things that have to do with them giving real money to the Disney Conservation Fund.
Well, the other thing too
heard about that.
is I have not seen that, and now I have to go back and try. But if you've ever done the Wilderness Explorer experience, they actually carry that over, and there are two. I actually did one of them. There is I think there's a botany badge. I did the ecology badge, where you learn about the Pandoran animals. So you have to find the troop leader. And they explain the relationship in nature, and then you get to earn your badge, which is a Navi sticker that goes in. And I love that. Like, I love that they sort of carried that over. And again, for kids and adults, it's a free, something else to do, something else to collect type experience.
Yep.
You know what I'm really impressed about?
That we haven't talked about food yet?
Correct. That's exactly what I was going to say. We have gone this long and we haven't even talked about food.
Now
that's
let's get into my wheelhouse. Let's just let's sit back, relax, put on your stretchy pants, and talk about dining inside Pandora. Before we get to the actual food itself, once again, Satu'li Canteen, in terms of storytelling, again, it is the former commissary of the RDA. And you can see that combination of, very sort of sterile type, military canteen matched up with the Navi culture. Look, like when you walk in, look up at the totems and the beadwork and the artwork.
Yeah,
like, it is a beautiful environment. All that being said, let's get to the food. Because there's a lot of things I like about this is you can sort of create your own Satu'li bowl, and for ways of comparison, it's sort of like Chipotle style, right? You select your protein, you get your base, and you get your sauce. Very quickly, there's a slow-roasted grilled beef, a chopped wood-grilled chicken, sustainable fish fillet, and I didn't think I would, but I really actually liked the chili-spiced crispy fried tofu. You then select a base. There's a quinoa and vegetable salad, red and sweet potato hash, yummy, mixed whole grain rice, and a romaine and kale salad, and then you add your sauce, a charred onion chimichurri, black bean vinaigrette, nice, and the creamy herb dressing. And all those entrees run between $11.49 and $12.99. And I will tell you, I've eaten there I've eaten there a bunch of times. You get a lot of food, and food that, dare I say, depending on how, is actually not just tasty, but it's healthy too.
Yeah, compared to what Disney usually has, I would say quinoa and chicken, pretty healthy.
Yeah. Dare I say, you know what? I'm going to throw this out there before you give me, dare I say, the best counter service dining at Disney's Animal Kingdom?
Yeah.
I want
Sound so sure of yourself there.
I was thinking of Flame Tree, but no, I still think I'd pick Satuli Canteen.
And the cheeseburger pod? Ay, Dios mío.
Oh, those were so good.
The little cheeseburger
They were surprising.
pod, they're like bao buns, right? It's steamed cheeseburger. What? It has.
Did you say bowel buns?
No, John.
Wow.
Bao.
B-A-O.
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 There's a vegetable steamed curry one, and there's a cheeseburger one.
Oh my.
It's like they took all the best parts of a tasty Big Mac and shoved it into a bun.
And then they've got the vegetable curry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I asked for one of each, and I got it. It was really good.
There wasn't anything there that I didn't like. And you're right, the portion sizes were great.
And that crispy slaw with the boba.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
And a kid would not be so scared of that hot dog and that beautiful bun they've got. That it looks like a crescent roll, well done with a hot dog in it.
Yeah, so for kids, they have the beef, the chicken. They have all. You can do a kid's meal bowl with rice and grains or salad. But they also have the cheeseburger pod, the all beef hot dog wrapped in dough, and a cheese quesadilla. So it's nice that even the kids' items are different than what you find elsewhere.
Right, you're not getting an Uncrustable. Yeah.
Right.
Then we do have to talk about the thing that nobody could agree on. The desserts.
Listen, that blueberry cheesecake.
There were
delicious.
some people that loved the blueberry. There's a blueberry cream cheese mousse cake, and then there's a chocolate cake, and they're both kind of a mound of deliciousness. But some people either really loved the blueberry or didn't like it at all, and those who didn't loved the chocolate and weren't too fond of the other side. And I gotta, when you dig into the blueberry cream cheese mousse, it's purple.
I like the blueberry one.
That threw me off, but I loved it.
Yeah, it was a little odd. But
because look at it. It looks like it's something that a Navi would eat. That's the point. It's meant to be.
And the thing on top looks like an egg yolk, but it's passion fruit.
It's passion fruit, yeah. So it's healthy because it's got fruit in it. Don't mess with my fantasy. Just
the same way the carrot cake is a vegetable. I got
it. Correct.
See? It is.
So Amanda, what did you think of the food?
Well, I loved it because, if there's anyone who's got special dietary needs, like for me, I've recently changed my way of eating. And if you're vegan, it's a great place to go because you can go get the rice, you can get the tofu, you can get the chimichurri, and it's fantastic. They didn't have a dessert option for me. So your desserts looked like art. You eat with your eyes first. So, they were beautifully plated and, I didn't get to try them, but I really, really, really enjoyed my lunch.
I did as well. And we should also mention, too, as far as beverage options, they have something called a Pandoran Sunrise, which is tropical juices and Powerade melon, which I liked. They have one. You could also get that in a special souvenir cup. But they also have alcoholic beverages there as well. We tried the Dreamwalker Sangria, which is white sangria with the blue curacao. A number of different ales. There's different beers as well as some Chardonnay and Pinot Noirs as well. So if you do want a beverage, Becky, with your meal, you can have that as well. Did any of you guys?
Sangria was really good.
Yeah, are those the same beers that are outside at Pongu Pongu?
So there is a Moara High Country Ale, a Hawks Grog Ale, a Banshee Pinot Noir, a Banshee Chardonnay, and then there's Bud Light and Stella Artois.
Okay, so those are the two specialty beers that are outside as well.
Right. We'll get to Pongu Pongu. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Is Bud Light considered an import?
On Pandora.
Just curious.
Yeah, 4.4 million light years.
So did any of you do the ordering ahead via the mobile app?
Not yet.
So this is something that Disney is just starting to roll out, and from what I understand from people who have done it, it is working flawlessly. You can pre-order your meal via the My Disney Experience app. So what you do is you can order it, you can pay for it via your app. You can also schedule when you want to pick up the meal. So if you're in Pandora you have a fast pass or you're wandering around, you can order your meal. Say you want to go and get it at 1:30. You'll actually get a message. You can let them know, hey, I'm 5 minutes away. You let them know, and then they'll text you to let you know when you should come into the area and pick up your order from the counter.
That's amazing. And it's already paid for.
It's already paid for. It's a separate line. A friend of mine was here last night. He said he did it. He said it's revolutionary in terms of how he's able to get his food. And they're doing it at a number of other places like the ABC Commissary, Backlot Express, Harbor House, Cosmic Rays, Deluxe Burger, Electric Umbrella, Flame Tree, Liberty Inn, Pecos Bills, Pinocchio Village, Pizza Safari, Restaurantosaurus, Tortuga, and Tomorrowland Terrace Restaurant. So
you'll need to be a resort guest to take advantage of that?
You do need to be. Are you asking me or telling me?
Yeah, no, I'm asking you.
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
As long as if you can use the My Disney Experience app, that's how it's booked through. So
okay, so I guess you can pay at the counter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And cool. Then right outside is Pongu Pongu, which means party.
Yes, it does.
Calm down, Mencken.
My favorite place in the sorry. Your food and my margaritas. I'm just saying.
Well, there you go.
Listen, there's an item in that Pongu Pongu, and I know you're going to mention it, Lou.
Oh yes.
That literally is the whole reason you need to visit Pandora only.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Flight of Passage was so 5 minutes ago because so we'll save I'll quickly go through. They have 2 frozen beverages. They have a non-alcoholic and an alcoholic. The Night Blossom is the non-alcoholic. It's under $5. It's limeade with apple and desert pear flavors, topped with passion fruit boba balls. And the Moara Margarita is tequila with strawberry and blood orange, topped with strawberry boba balls. That's $9.25. They have the 2 beers, but John, big cuddly panda that you are, I'm with you on the Pongo Lumpia. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, unless you're driving, and listen. Pineapple, cream cheese, spring roll. It's lightly fried. I don't know what they wrap it in, but that I hope that's what you were talking about, John.
Yeah, it is wrapped in witchcraft and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
It is some delicious stuff in there.
Is it a deep fried Dole Whip or what?
No, call it a spring roll. So it's pineapple with cream cheese wrapped in a dough that is lightly fried.
Very lightly. Kind of it's very, very lightly fried.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's fried. It might just be baked on top of it, but it's just got enough crunch.
Yeah, it doesn't feel oily, but I do think it's fried.
You bite into that cream cheese that it's got enough. Oh, yum.
That's a party right there.
Oh. Not trying to grab the tray that the gal was, carrying around and just go, mine. It's mine. I'm just going to take this over here. Is that okay?
But yeah, John, maybe it's sort of their version of the Pandoran Dole Whip, as a snack.
Yeah, I'm like, where was it before? Why would God have made us be born had it not been here yet? It's that delicious. It's that great.
Those darn things.
Yeah. So.
And the beer tap, you need to pay close attention to that because I know that it's kind of special. Well, not the ale, but the other one.
The grog, the Hawks Grog Ale.
Whichever one's not green.
The more high.
The high country, yes.
Believe it or not, I'm going to move you off of alcohol and back to the Olympia for a second, just because I want to point out something. When people do the dining plan, right? You usually have snacks left over. That's a snack. You can use the 20 snacks you have left over from your 7-day dining plan and just get nothing but a whole bunch of pongu.
So before entering Pandora, you need to yell, anybody leaving tomorrow that's got snacks?
I'm going to sit there with a sign like, we'll work for extra snack credits. Just
my point exactly.
And I believe the Night Blossom is a snack credit as well.
Oh, yes, it is. Right, I'm looking at the menu right now. It is a snack. And the other thing, too, inside and around Pongu Pongu, look at the details. Look at the dog tags of some of the people that are hanging outside. Look at what the signs, the order here and pickup signs, look what they were made from. They repurposed a lot of things that were left over from the old RDA station that was there. All right, so man, I can go talking about this all. One other thing I want to mention too. Did you guys see the drum ceremony?
Yes,
I missed it.
I did not.
So I did not know it was coming until I saw some people. So interactive environment. There's an area by the entrance where, like some areas in Disney's Animal Kingdom, there are sort of organic type drums built into the environment, but they actually do a drum ceremony that has a story behind, but it's a very interactive and they pull people out. It's a very high energy kind of thing. That was a really nice, Becky, I know you watched that with me. That was a really nice little show and surprise. And I loved watching it. It's something that sort of takes place in 360, you know, it's not sort of on a stage somewhere. It takes place right in the middle of the environment. And I love how they pulled people up and got kids playing drums and adults playing drums as well.
Yeah, I loved looking over and seeing John Landau dancing, which was kind of fun. But when you have a land like that, you expect from Disney, you expect entertainment of some sort, right? And that was the perfect entertainment scenario that matched into the story and really kind of put a little bit of topping on the whole experience, because you did have that drum ceremony. There's three that rotate, so a couple of them are in the back and then one comes up front, and they grab people from the audience to interact and to create these sounds and be part of this experience. And it's so much fun watching them. They had so much energy and were extremely entertaining. And I think you and I stood there and watched I think we watched all three cycle through, and it was hard to pull ourselves away because it was so much fun to watch the other people get involved and people dancing and seeing what they're going to do next. There's enough comedy to keep you entertained, but yet it was enough to really stick within the Pandora story.
Yeah, I mean, great percussion music that was being played. A lot of talent there. Yeah.
A lot of talent.
So, all right. So in sort of wrapping this all up, I would love to hear from you guys individually and collectively with either a final thoughts, a tip to get the most out of your visit. Again, I'll do ladies and guests first. So Amanda, Becky, and John.
My one thing is if you haven't seen the movie and you think you're not going to get it, you are so going to get it. And I would beg you, if you haven't seen the movie, to don't watch it before you go, just because I want you to have the same visceral experience that I had, because I'm really excited to go see the film now. So that would be my tip.
I only get one. There's so many. I think one of the things that another Banshee in the room is the time, because right now it is extraordinarily popular. It's evening, well into evening where you guys are, and I just looked and it's got a 200-minute wait for the flight. But take advantage. Make sure that you're taking advantage of the fast passes. If you're staying on property, take advantage of the extra magic hours if they're available to you. Know that things like being matched with the Banshee is going to take time if you want to do that. I think that's going to end up having a long queue itself. There's also extra magic hours from now until July 4th, where they're also running the area from 11 to 1 a.m. For the night people, which is something we haven't even touched on, guys, is the nighttime bioluminescence, which transforms it into a whole nother experience. So if you're there, like you said, at the transition, but then try to stay well on, because you'll have so many different things to see that aren't apparent in the daylight. So take your time for that too. And if you're a photographer, but you don't really care about the movie, doesn't matter. That is a photographer's paradise. Mm-hmm. I had so many amazing moments where just stopping and going, that would be a beautiful artistic picture if I just had, a bigger lens and a different type of camera. So it definitely is.
Or an iPhone.
Really? Really, you had to go there.
There's going to be a lot of people laying down on the ground at night taking selfies. I've already seen
Oh my
it.
gosh. And the way that the paths light up, you can't even explain it. And like you said, John, at the very beginning, I think pictures, photos, video are not going to do it justice. You have to experience it with your own eyes. But last but not least, I think would be make sure you stop and talk to the locals, talk to the ACE people, really give yourself the time to explore the land. So if you look up and it's a 265-minute wait to get into one of the attractions, or you have a fast pass that you're waiting for, don't go out of the land. Take your time in there and explore. Take all the little pathways. Get lost. It's going to be the best way to experience it.
I agree. And forgive me if we didn't talk about nighttime, because, I said before this land opened with things that were coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom, from the Tree of Life show to Rivers of Light to some other things that I think are coming down the pike, and certainly now with Pandora, I think Disney's Animal Kingdom is going to be the park to go to at night. I think it takes the park itself takes on a whole different feeling and ambiance, and that very much is true. Pandora at night is a very different experience than it is during the day. The environment is very interactive because that plant life it comes alive in a very different way. And spending some time chatting with some of the Imagineers and some of the things. So look, I don't want to spoil it for you, because I think it's the surprises. It's the surprise things that you come across that really helps to enhance your experience. And I saw them as I spent a lot of time wandering through Pandora in the evening as well. I don't want to rehash anything that we said. I think in terms of tips, Becky, I agree with you. I think that you do need to put down the map, spend some time exploring and wandering, stay there for the transition as it takes place from dawn to dusk. Sit and look from different angles at the environment. Listen as much as you look around. And, circling back to, what I was thinking when they first announced it, I think they did an exceptional job of fitting in with that messaging of Disney's Animal Kingdom, of conservation and living with the land. I think there are some inspirational messages you can take back from this. I said this before. I think this is one of the single greatest accomplishments Imagineering has done in terms of intimate experiences and storytelling on a completely different level. It's not about the film. It is about that world and environment. And I think it is a very intimate experience. The land is not huge. It's probably a little bit smaller than Cars Land. You can enjoy just wandering around for hours. And I think this right now sets the bar and defines what an immersive environment truly is. And if you think this is good, this gets me really excited.
Yeah, I know what you're
going to be able to do. If you like Pandora, you're going to love Star Wars and Toy Story and what else is coming down the pike. So I applaud. I know a lot of us were there. I applaud and I thank the Imagineering team of the 150 plus disciplines that all came together to create this world that we saw on screen. And like what Walt wanted to do with Fantasyland, where you can step into those environments and live those stories, that is exactly what they have done with Pandora. I loved going. I am excited to go back and see it again many different times in many different ways, and hopefully with many different friends like you guys. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for not just spending time with me in Pandora last week, but spending time with me tonight. You can find Becky Mankin, of course, usually with me or at the bar. You can also find her at Mousefan.
Or Pongu Pongo.
Or Pongu Pongo. If you're traveling to a Disney destination or to Pandora, Becky and her team can help you. You can find John over at bigfatpanda.com.
Correct.
And where are you on all the social stuff?
BigFatPanda.com pretty much leads everywhere. My name, John Saccari on Facebook, Saccheri. And if Lou doesn't change his schedule, we are going to do a food review soon from Satuli Canteen.
We will calling me out on the show now. We got to do it.
We'll be stuffing our faces, talking like, really good.
That's part of the fun. And Amanda, where can everybody find you?
I'm blogging at where'samanda.com, and then I'm Amanda Tinney, Tinney, on all other social channels.
Good, and I'll put all that stuff in the show notes as well. Thank you guys once again. I sincerely appreciate you. If I knew how to say it in Navi, but listen, I butcher the English language. I would certainly butcher the. You know how to say it, John?
No, not really. I would make it up.
You guys can all sing. Sing the shaman song.
I want to go get one of those Macon margaritas now.
Oh, dude, they're so good. I just wanted half of the margarita and just put all the little ball things in there because they're so good. They're strawberry flavored and it's yum. Just yum.
Ewa Nagahu. May Ewa be with you.
What?
Ewa Nagahu says, may Ewa be with you.
Okay.
I'm actually reading.
Sing Lou.
Heya Love means until
Sing the
next
shaman
time.
song.
Aewa, Aewa.
Aewa, Aewa.
Oh, you gotta just sing.
You know what you forgot? You forgot to get your face painted.
I'm gonna go back and do it. I said that I was gonna do it on a live show, so I'm either gonna do it at a meet of the month in Pandora, or I'll do it during a live show.
And make sure it's at
during
night
the food review if you want to do it together.
I've heard it glows with the bioluminescence at night.
So I'm thinking a Pandora meet of the month around dusk. We can meet, we can eat, we can get my face painted, we can all ride Flight of Passage together and eat some more.
All right, so I'm switching up the plans we had in June.
It's time for our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World's history, or see how well you pay attention to the details, not just in what you see, but sometimes in what you hear. If you think you know the answer, you can enter via our online form for a chance to win a Disney prize package and a new prize this week. But before we get to this week's question, we're going to go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So last week I was talking to you about Happily Ever After, the new fireworks nighttime spectacular in the Magic Kingdom that replaced Wishes after nearly a 13-year run in the parks. But your question was to tell me that when Wishes debuted in October 2003, what show did Wishes replace? Again, thanks to the nearly 1,000 of you that entered, got this one correct because you knew or remembered or Googled that Wishes actually replaced Fantasy in the Sky, which was there for a much, much longer run. But as I said, if you haven't seen Happily Ever After as yet, the projections on the castle are just spectacular, and the fireworks themselves are bigger and grander, and you are going to love the music. But anyway, I took all of the correct entries, randomly selected one, and last week you were once again playing for my 102 Ways to Save Money for and at Walt Disney World book, all 7 of my virtual audio tours of the Magic Kingdom, both of which you can find on the shop at WDWRadio.com. I'm also going to send you a WDW Radio Magic Band 2.0 cover, a bunch of WDW Radio stickers, and a brand new prize that I just got in this week, a WDW Radio pop socket phone stand and grip and mount. If you've never seen it before, it's sort of a small logoed expanding stand that fits on the back of any phone that you can use to hold in your hand, stand it up on a table, and it's also going to come with a mount for your car or your desk or your computer. I only have these available as prizes. You can't buy them in the store, although I will have some at our booth at D23 Expo coming up in, yikes, just over a month. So last week's winner, randomly selected, is Michelle Gransky. So Michelle, congratulations. I have your information from the online form. I will get your prize package out to you right away, but if you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. So I'm going to keep this one simple and straightforward and bring you over to Disney's Hollywood Studios, and we talk about immersive environments and attractions and games, and I think Toy Story Midway Mania is really one of the best examples of that. But let's see how well you know or remember the attraction itself. Because before you actually get into the scored game, you get sort of a practice round at the very beginning. So tell me, in Toy Story Midway Mania, what do you practice throwing before the game actually begins? You have until Sunday, June 4th at 11:59 p.m. to go to WDWRadio.com, click on this week's podcast, and use the online entry form there. Again, you're playing for the book, the tours, the Magic Band cover, the stickers, and I will send you one of the new custom WDW Radio pop socket phone holders and stands. So good luck and have fun. That's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you again so very much for taking the time to tune in this and every week. Thanks to all of you who followed along with me live and on the videos from Pandora last week. If you visit the Facebook page at facebook.com/WDW Radio, you can see replays of the live video, other videos I uploaded, including the avatar making experience, and a bunch of 360 VR walkthroughs of the land and some of the attractions. While you're on the site, be sure and pick up the new free guide, 102 Things to Do in Walt Disney World at least once. You can find it right on the homepage of the site. And to make sure you don't miss anything, please make sure that you like and turn on notifications on the Facebook page. You can follow me on social. I'm at Lou Mongello on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. Please also join me every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for WDW Radio Live. I do a live video broadcast and chat with you either from the parks or from the home studio. Great way for us to have a two-way conversation, and you can play games to win prizes and call into the show for a chance to be part of the broadcast. Again, that's Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I'd love to hear from you. If you have a question you want me to answer on the show, you can email me, lou@wdwradio.com, or call the voicemail at 407-900-9391. Of course, I believe that nothing beats a handshake and a hug. So on the Facebook page, click on the events tab. You'll find out about upcoming meets of the month, as well as special events like our upcoming Double Dip cruise later on this month, our cruise to Alaska in 2018. Yes, there is still availability there. Other events I'll be doing in the parks, on the road, and our special event coming to D23 Expo. Stay tuned this week for a special announcement. The next meet of the month in Walt Disney World is going to be probably Saturday, June 24th. I'll have details hopefully this week about exactly when and where that will be. I also do other meetups and events on the road as I travel to speak. And if you visit LouMongello.com, you can find out how I can maybe come speak to your school, your business, or at your event. And if maybe I can help you turn what you love into what you do with either some one-on-one mentoring or some small group coaching. I'd love to help you build your brand and business and do what you love full-time. Again, you can find out everything over at LouMongello.com. There are also less than 20 seats left for my Momentum Workshop Weekend in Walt Disney World, October 14th through the 17th. There's also only 2 seats left for the Tuesday Mastermind session. I'm really excited about this 2-day, very interactive workshop where I can help you with the help of some other speakers in a small, intimate workshop type environment, help you make real changes in your life and in your business. Again, for more information, visit LouMongello.com. Thanks as always to some of the new and longtime members of the WDW Radio Nation, including Justin Carrington, Quincy Julian, Anthony Scavone, Mark Thompson, and Christine Hardy. I sincerely appreciate you and the love and the support that you and so many other people give through the nation. And if you want to find out how you can not only help the show, but get exclusive monthly rewards like monthly scavenger hunts, access to our private Facebook group, personalized Magic Band covers, backpacks, t-shirts, care packages from Walt Disney World, exclusive live video group calls, and lots more, you can please visit wdwradio.com/support. Don't forget that the purge of my Disney collection is still going on eBay. I have many, many boxes that have been in my garage for my personal collection that it's time for me to finally let go. New auctions begin and end every Sunday night. I usually have about 10 items up there. You can visit wdwradio.com/eBay, and that will take you to the auction page as well. Thanks again to Becky Mankin from Mouse Fan Travel. my official recommended travel provider. It's been who I've been using for years, and it's why I recommend them, because of the level of service that they give, all at no cost to you. You can visit them at mousefantravel.com, and please go to Celebrations Press to subscribe to Celebrations Magazine. And as always, my friend, and you truly are my friend, whether we have met yet or not. I mean that sincerely. And if you like the show, all I ask is that you take just a second to let others know about it, whether you tweet out a link to this week's episode, better yet, share this or your favorite episode over on Facebook, and take just 30 seconds to go to iTunes to rate and review the show. Thanks to you, we have more than 1,200 five-star reviews. We hit number 2 overall on iTunes. I want to thank some recent reviewers like Dallas, Donna's, Jim, who says, "Don't listen when hungry. I really enjoy the show, but I can't listen when I run anymore if it's a restaurant review. Lou makes me so hungry." I think it's so sweet when the family does reviews and have gotten great suggestions from the shows. They're literally the nicest people if you meet them as well. Oh, thank you. I think Lou put a lot of effort into his shows and guests. Becky is one of my favorites? What? There is no other Disney... I kid because I love. There's no other Disney podcast that is as well produced and planned. Dr. Teeth MD, I love it, says, "Great show, very fun and exciting to listen to." And Kate Linville says it's her favorite podcast. She discovered it in 2015 when driving to Disney World with her sister and hasn't stopped listening since. She grew up in a DVC family, loved hearing all the latest reviews and news and reviews of restaurants. It's my favorite podcast and the only one I listen to on a regular basis. You stay awesome, Lou Mangello. You stay classy, Katie. And you, the rest of you, you continue to stay awesome and amazing and wonderful as well. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you and the gift and the blessing you give me of your time. And if there's ever anything I can do to help you in some way, please let me know. And if there is something that you've always wanted or wished you could do, I tell you to jump in the pool. And what I mean by that is I was at a pool this week and I was thinking about jumping in. I'm a total sissy when it comes into jumping into cold water, and I didn't know if it was hot or cold. And I thought about that decision-making process that was going on there and how it sort of applies to some of those moments that we all have of indecision in life, because sometimes you know what you want to do, you know what you have to do, but when it comes down to it, you're kind of afraid that the water might be too cold. But you know that once you do, the water's going to be fine. And that leap of faith that you take and overcoming that fear is going to be worth it. Sometimes trying to take the little steps and go in an inch at a time is harder than just jumping in. So when you're standing there at the edge of that pool, right, and that the metaphor I'm using of the pool, when you hear those different conflicting voices in your head, listen to the one that says do it and just jump in. Take that leap of faith. I promise you, the water's going to be fine. I hope that you have your best week ever. Go jump in the pool. See ya.
Hey Lou, this is Justin from Chicago, Illinois. I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you do and let you know how much I enjoy listening to every single one of your podcasts. I actually just went back and listened to your very first one. It kind of have inspired me to do my own thing as well. So keep doing what you're doing, and God bless you and your family, and I will look forward to the next one. Thanks.
Hello, Lou. It's Bethany Bright from Arizona, but recently moved all the way to Indianapolis about a year ago now. I just listened to your top 10 Disneyland secrets episode, and I'm most definitely down for a part 2 for this. Just like Jim, I tend to think of myself as a Disney World or Disneyland know-it-all, and being from Arizona, I would make the trip to Disneyland about 3 to 4 times a year. I as well have that deep emotional connection you guys were talking about to Disneyland, and also get teary-eyed, just like you, every time I walk down Main Street and see the castle. Now living in Indy, I'm so far from Disneyland, but this episode made it seem a little closer to my home away from home. Of course, I love Disney World just as much, and even did a Disney College program in Magic Kingdom in spring of 2015. Thank you, Lou, for always making me feel a little bit closer to both my homes every week. Thank you so much, and have the most magical day. Bye.
Hi, Lou. My name is James Dressler. I'm a recent listener to your show, and your newest one that's out about the 10 Secrets of Disneyland, you wanted our feedback about our favorite secret. And my favorite secret is The Little Men of Disneyland. There was a golden book called The Little Men of Disneyland. It was written back when Disneyland was being built, And you can still find the house in Disneyland by the Fast Pass by the Indiana Jones ride. So that's really special to me. I'm looking forward to seeing it again very soon, and just thought I'd share that with you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Lou Mangello. It's Darlene Nagy from West Seneca, New York, and I want to say thank you so very, very, very much for that Pandora expedition that you did. Now, your next expedition is going to be in 30 days, and we've got a great plan for you. Make sure you have a lot of sunshine and happiness and good food, great days at the water park that's in the bay, and maybe go to the adult beach or check out a cabana. I know there's so much for you to research. Have that double dip is going to make it a great payoff for new adventures for everyone on that cruise. I have 105 days now until Disneyland, and I am so excited. Have a wonderful weekend, and stay positive like Lou always says, and love and hugs to all.
You've got a friend in me. Yeah.
One life ends, another begins.